Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about something important, the recent OpenAI data breach involving their analytics partner Mixpanel. This incident didn't expose passwords or API keys, but it did leak identifiable information from OpenAI API users. And as cybersecurity people, we need to break down what happened, why it matters, and what you should do now to protect yourself. I'm going to explain this clearly, professionally, and in a way that makes you walk away smarter about data privacy, vendor security, and real world attack surfaces. So let's get into it. On November 9th, 2025, Mixpanel, the analytics vendor used by OpenAI for its API platform, suffered a security breach. An attacker managed to access Mixpanel systems and exfiltrate customer data that OpenAI had been sending them for analytics and usage insights. Then, on November 25th, Mixpanel notified OpenAI and OpenAI announced publicly that some API customer information had been exposed. So the breach wasn't inside OpenAI's infrastructure directly. It happened through a third-party vendor they relied on. And that distinction is incredibly important because these types of supply chain leaks are one of the biggest cybersecurity risks today. OpenAI has confirmed that the following types of information were exposed: usernames, email addresses, approximate location data, IP metadata, browser and device information, organization IDs, and some limited analytics metadata. So, while nothing like passwords or API keys were leaked, this is still personally identifiable information and enough to enable phishing attacks, impersonation, or targeted social engineering. Now, let's talk about what was not leaked, because part is actually reassuring. So, no passwords, no ChatGPT conversations, no API keys, no billing or payment information, no API usage logs, no code, no prompts, no model inputs or outputs. So, in other words, your actual data and your API keys were safe. The breach was limited but not harmless. Even though the leaked information may seem basic, it's critical to understand why this matters. Every major platform today relies on analytics and third party services. These vendors receive data in the background, often quietly, sometimes even unnecessarily, and when those vendors get breached, your information becomes collateral damage. So, what this breach really highlights is the risk of the weakest link. OpenAI may have strict security, but the vendors they rely on might not, and that's what attackers look for. This is where things get practical, especially for those of us building tools, apps, or AI powered platforms. Here are the takeaways. Audit your analytics pipelines. Don't send unnecessary PII to third party tools. Strip it, hash it, or anonymize it. Minimize the metadata you collect. If you don't need a user's email or IP address for analytics, don't send it. Be careful with third party integrations. Vendors become part of your attack surface. Understand your data flow. Many developers don't realize what data gets passed through SDKs or libraries by default. And finally, prepare for the worst. Assume every vendor could be breached eventually, and design your data practices accordingly. For developers using OpenAI's API, check for any email notifications from OpenAI. Enable MFA if you haven't already. Be cautious of phishing emails. Attackers may use leaked emails to impersonate OpenAI. Review app logs for unusual login attempts. Rotate credentials if you have any suspicions of compromise. And again, audit your analytics and monitoring code. If you're sending user PEI to a vendor, now is the time to fix that. The bigger story here is about trust. AI companies store massive amounts of sensitive data, sometimes directly, sometimes through third parties. This breach shows that every industry giant needs to rethink how much data is shared with outside services. We are likely going to see more companies avoiding external analytics, more regulations around AI data handling, increasing demand for privacy first tools, and much tighter vendor security rules. This won't be the last incident like this, but it should be a wake up call. To wrap things up, that's the full breakdown of the 2025 OpenAI data breach. Even though the core systems weren't compromised, user information still leaked. And that's exactly why cybersecurity matters. Breaches don't always happen where you expect them. If you learned something today, hit the like button and subscribe for more cybersecurity breakdowns, demos, and real world examples. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you in the next video.